All right, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in. Today is June 21st, 2023, and welcome to our weekly client support webinar workshop. Hope everybody's doing good. All right, if one or two of you could let me know the audio is okay and you can see my screen, I think everything looks good on my end. We should be a-okay. There you have it. All right, first day of summer today, right? Longest day of the year, I think. All right, so there it is. Hard to believe that's already here, but here we go. You know, we're gonna blink and it's gonna be Labor Day, right? So in any case, let's get going here. All right, so first thing I wanna cover here, of course, are some things like the risks involved in trading. We all know there's risk in trading. What we want to do is help you learn how to protect yourself against it. One of the ways is certainly by using money you can afford to risk, called risk capital. All right, don't trade with money you can't really afford to risk. And then also too, you know, past performance in the markets does not guarantee future performance. And that's because we work in a realm of probability. So there's no guarantees. You know, we do the best we can. We go with the setups we're familiar with and work more often than not, but they don't work all the time. And so you have to protect yourself with risk control. We can help you do that. I got a lot of really good books on that, and I'll share those with you in just a moment. And then also too, do check with your money manager or financial advisor to be sure any of the things we talk about, especially if we start looking up stocks and stuff like that, make sure that's suitable for you. Some people it may be, some people it may not, depending on your situation. So definitely check with those. Books are available at Amazon or all major bookstores. We have a link on our website where you can go right to the books. And basically we have books on risk control called Money Management. We have Elliott Wade books. My new Art of Trading book coming out by Wiley is later this year. And then the Elliott Wade book published by McGraw-Hill has been very popular, and that's available as well, and the Survival Guide for Traders, so you can check out all that good stuff. And then we have software, and boy, do we have software. We have software for charting. We have software for scanners. We have software for risk control. And that's why I call it the ultimate trading system, is because a lot of times you buy software, trading software, financial software, and they may scan the market for you, or they may have some type of entry and exit system, but then they don't cover risk control. So you got to cover all these bases in order to be successful at this business. So that's why we kind of emphasize that, of course. All right, so you know, this is a webinar for you guys. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. What I thought I would do in the meantime, while waiting for questions, is one of the questions I did get emailed to me, and I think so. I'll start there. Is they were saying, you know, how do I day trade based on what you know, and how do I set up a simulator to do that? And it was from somebody in NinjaTrader, so I'm going to show them on the NinjaTrader platform. Most charting platforms, you know, they have software that will do simulated trading for you. So just go to their help page and you can look it all up, okay? All right, so the first thing I do is set my software, my layout, the way I like it. Now, usually when I day trade, I have 3 time frames, just like when I position trade. The difference is the day trading time frames are not the same. So let's just say I wanted to trade primarily a 1 minute. That's my primary time frame. So that chart goes on the center and it's the biggest chart. And then I have the 15-second chart, which is my short-term chart. And then I have the 5-minute chart, which is my whopping long minute chart. Now, for some people, they may say, wow, how does he, you know, that's 15-second chart. Oh my gosh, how do you even begin to make any sense out of that? Well, we load our software on each time frame. And actually, you know, there are intraday trends occurring on different time frames. There's scalp trades. Our software works on all time frames, all markets, whether you like to day trade futures, stocks, whatever you like to day trade, you can do that with our software. But this is how I set it up, all right? And then, you know, I use a combination of the 3 time frames to try to time my entry. And also I use the risk to reward calculator in order to give us trade size, okay? So that kind of thing. So that's kind of what I do. Now I have the scanners running up here. But if you're going to be using stocks, you're going to want to be definitely using this. You know, I usually day trade about, what, 6 futures markets. So I have it up here so I can quickly look, but also more for convenience because I just click on that and I have them synced up to my charts. So they change all charts at once. So it's a quick way from bouncing around from one futures to another. So that kind of it. Then I put the data window up here, and then I put the order ticket. Now the order ticket, let me just get rid of the order ticket. The order ticket you get by going up to the control panel on Ninja, and this may be different for the platform you're using, but you can find out how to do it. So you go to the new, and then you go to order ticket right here, okay? And then that brings it up, and you put it right there, okay, where you can always have it handy. Now, I usually use the order ticket for my exits primarily, and I'll show you why in a minute. So I usually immediately, right away, and you have to be familiar with how your broker orders look. Right away, I like to change the order type from a limit to a stop market. That way I don't make a mistake, because when things start to happen, you know, it's very easy to make a mistake when you're entering orders and stuff. So you want to have that set on stop market. And then you can use, yeah, you know, because we're day trading, you just use a day order, okay? And then the actual price for it goes in here, and then the actual instrument goes in here, right? So the next thing is I also load on Ninja. Oh, no, not there. This, hold on. Let me cancel that. I also load the chart trader, and this is just a quick way to enter and exit markets. So, you know, here is the MES. Really not the greatest setup, all right? But since we're only here for half an hour, I might just take a trade to show you how it works. So, you know, basically we're looking at the PTF and this. So this would be a scalp trade. It's kind of really not really a trend. It's more of a correction if you look on the 5-minute time frame. So let's just quickly take a look at this. So the point value is $5 on the MES, and it's $3.50 for the contract. So if I were to enter in 4118.75, which is approximately where prices are now, let's say I put my stop down here or even here. Let's put it here. Okay, so the exit price, according to the data window on the far right, is going to be 44.17. So 4414.50, 4414.50, right? And then I'll double check that, okay, just to make sure. All right, so 4414. So right away, if I hit calculate, it shows me on a $100,000 account, I can go 94 contracts. Now the risk to reward's not really there, but for the sake of doing this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put 94 contracts in at a 2% risk. And I'm just going to scalp this a little bit up to the upside here just to show you the mechanics. All right, so I would hit buy. Okay, this is a simulated account. And so there's your 94 contracts. Now, what did I tell you the stop was? The stop was down here at 4414.5, right? So you immediately want to go over to your order ticket, okay? And you immediately want to put in 94 contracts, all right? And then you want to put in 4414.50, okay? 4415. Now, double check everything, okay? Kind of like a carpenter, you know, when before they actually cut the wood, they measure twice, right? Kind of want to do the same thing here. All right, so the low on this is 4414, so our stop is 4114.5. It's going to be a sell stop market, and so now I put that in, I put my stop right below that pyramid, right? All right, so then the next thing you want to do is say, okay, well, how am I doing? So on the control panel for the simulated account, if this is the real account, it'd be the same way. So we're up 475 bucks. Now we're up 585 bucks. Okay, and this is our account size that we've chosen. So we're up 705 because the trade size is large, right? So that's kind of where we're at now. Now, that means nothing because this can go from positive to negative in a heartbeat. Okay, so just, you know, what's the plan? The plan here is to try to reach a yellow PTF, and it's going to be pretty much the same on this one. So that's kind of where I want to get out of this trade. That's my target. This is a scalp trade using the PTF. Now, if I get up here and I get 1,000, but we're not quite close, but I get a 1B in the opposite direction or some reason to scale out other than emotions, then I may take off half a position, lock some profit in so I have zero risk. Yeah, I can do that. All right. But the market's got to give me some first before I can do it. So now we're negative. You see, we're up 705. Now we're negative. This fluctuation in your open position is what causes people so much trouble with day trading, because the psychology of being up and down while the position is open is extremely difficult for a lot of people unless they're used to it. And this is why I always recommend you paper trade first using a simulated account so you get used to the mechanics of not only entering and exiting orders, but you get used to the ups and downs that you'll see in an open position. And then you got to realize not every trade wins, okay? You're going to have a number of trades that are losing trades. And so if you have one or two of those in a row, you could be looking at a loss very quickly in the morning and then maybe turn it around in the afternoon. If you have an edge, you'll turn it around. The question is when will that, happen? So you got to be kind of resilient that way. Now, in practical purposes, this is not the best trade to take. We have bearish divergence here, but our stop may be low enough, may not be, to keep us in a scalp trade, because that is really, what matters is where your stop is. Now, if I chose a stop way down here, I could have done that, okay? And that would lower the contracts from 94 probably to maybe 30 or something. Nothing wrong with that. If you get stopped out, you'll still have the same amount of dollar loss, because your loss is always going to be 2%. So it's always going to be around 2,000 bucks on a $100,000 account, but you're giving it more room. But everything is, there's no free lunch. If you want a higher profit here, then you put your stop a little closer and have an increase in trade size. Now, my feeling is I like to do that because if I get stopped out, all right, if this is still valid, I'm going to go back in. I might even get in at a better price and get all that money back pretty quickly. Sometimes when you kind of have your stop so far away, you kind of get stuck in a meandering situation. I'd rather get out at a loss and get back in and get back going. All depends, okay? Now the pyramids here have highlighted this as a sideways channel, okay? So we got one unconfirmed blue and one unconfirmed bearish. So if this gets taken out, that's not such a good sign for us. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, anything can happen. Anything can happen. The success of this trade, this one trade, will be, the stop. Will the stop hold? Now we've got our stop in here. All right, there's nothing more we can do right now. If you wanted to put in a target price exit up here, you could do that, okay? And that would be a limit order, okay, at the target. Since I'm gonna watch it, sometimes I like to do that because then I like to trail price bars, okay? Now, you got your stop in here. You're gonna look at other markets. You can take your eyes off that, okay? You're protected to the downside. Here's the NASDAQ, same type of thing. Let's look at crude oil, okay? Sideways, all right, with a red PTF on the lower time frames. Doesn't excite me that much. Big run up already. Let's take a look at gold, okay? Then there's gold, okay? Gold looks like maybe some type of short trade coming up after it reaches a little bit of its target up here a little further, but not quite yet, okay? All right, let's go back to MES, okay? So now we're down 1,500 bucks, all right? And that pyramid was confirmed. So probably we're going to get stopped out here. I'd say it's a pretty good chance. Maybe not, never know. But this is turning red here, okay? So this is red. This is red. All right, we're very close to being stopped out. And if you're stopped out, you're stopped out. You keep moving forward, okay? You get back in the saddle. And the nice thing is now you can reset. So if it goes down even further, you're not sitting there biting your nails, you're out. Now we can look for a turnaround. So now we got the PTF here, red, okay? This is red, this is red. So we can't go long until this changes over here. So we don't want to be long in this market right now. So I'm glad we're out. All right. But you see, can you stomach that? That's the question. What if you have two of these in a row? Let's say you have a trading system that wins 65% of the time. That means you're going to be losing 3.5 times out of 10 trades. What if you lost all three at one time in a row? And it's not even 12 noon yet. Could you handle that emotionally? You see what I'm saying? In order to make money day trading, you need a pretty hefty account size and you need large trade size. You know, people that come to me and go, I want to make a living on a $10,000 account. Hello? Are you joking? There's no way you can make money on a 10,000 a light, unless you live in a tent and you only need about $500 a month. There's no way you could do that. You need a hefty account to make a living day trading, but it ain't easy. Okay, you need to have the psychology in order to do this. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. But you want, the great thing about this type of configuration in terms of, you can practice on the simulator account until you're profitable. Do it for at least 50 trades. And once you have those 50 trades profitable, then you have a chance of actually doing well because you have an edge, right? 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 trades means nothing, okay? You have to do enough of a sample size to really test your system out. And this paper trading is a great way to do it. And you can do this on the position trading timeframes too. You don't have to just do this on the intradays. You can do this on regular, longer term position trades as well. The only problem is, 50 trades on that is going to take you a while, whereas 50 trades on a short-term time frame to test your situation will come a lot quicker. You'll be able to get results quicker. So even if you have no intention of day trading, you may want to trade the lower time frames in a simulated mode, so you get a really good feedback on how your system is working. And no two people trade art the same way. All right, some people trade it, scalp with it using the PTFs. Other people trade it using the pyramids. Other people only take a scalp when the pyramid is valid and in place as well. Other people use the reversals to scalp. Some people like to use Elliott wave fib retracements along with the art software. So there's so many different variables or combinations you can use in order to do well with this. But when you get stopped out, you got to get out, okay? Because you can't, the system, if you're going to have an edge, you have to keep your losses in line. And for me, that means 2%. All right, as you test and test and test, you're going to see what percent works best for you. I suggest starting out with 2. All right, so let's see what's going on now. So now on the 15-second chart, now we've got yellow here, so that's neutral. This is still pretty hefty though. That's a pretty hefty bearish owl. This is bearish. This is close to going bearish here. So if this goes bearish, red, and the market pulls up, I'm not going to go long. Instead, I may look for a short scalp trade at that point, because this indicator with a 75% probability, all right, does pretty well, and that's my edge for scalp trading. So that's kind of what I would suggest on it. So we'll see what happens. Also, too, the more strict you are, the less trades you'll take. That's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're a scalper, you're going to take more trades than if you're looking for some type of trend trade based off the pyramids, Elliott wave, fib retracements. And you can certainly see, you know, if you had this nice trend down, you would have done well. And then you would have done well too once this pullback was over and you saw the bottom hold, okay? If you want to trade off this, it's going to be a little more risky, but you got to put your stop at the very bottom because you're trying to catch bottoms. So you got to be careful about that as well. Any questions on this? Also, too, depending on what platform and broker you use, become acquainted with the order types, okay? So this is a stop market. Some brokers may call it something different, maybe just stop, and then they have a stop limit as well. I never use, or I should rephrase that, 99.9% of the time I will not use a stop limit. I will use a stop market. And the reason for that, I just want to get out. All right. If I happen to miss the limit price, I may not get filled, and I'm in a trade then that I should have been stopped out on. But because of the mechanics of what happened past the limit price, I'm not out. So I always use a stop market. That way I get out, even if the fill's not quite as good as I wanted it to be. I want to be out because then my mind is free. I can reassess the situation. If I'm in a trade I shouldn't be in, then you're kind of like, oh God, you know, that's when things start to fall apart, right? So our next example, if we can get long on here, and we're close to trying it again, is let's see what happens when we put the trade size further back. So here's where we put it before, I think, right? That was at 44. Yeah, that was a 44 one. You could use that same one. Okay, you could definitely use the same one. But let's say we use the pyramid back here. All right. Personally, if you're going to do this, I'd use the same one. All right. Or actually, this is the one we used. I'd use this one. Okay, that's the one I would use this time around. But if you were really, you know, saying, oh, I don't want to go through that again, and that's a psychological response, then you could use this one. And so the stop would have to be at 4406.75. So if it was at 40, what did I say, 4406.75, so that's going to be 4406.50. Let me just double check that. Yes. So if I hit calculate, it'd be only 32 contracts. Okay. If I use this one, or you could use this one, but if I use this one, then that number is 4410.5. One tick, always one tick under, and that gives me more contracts, 48. Okay. Now, another thing you can do is if you get this green, this no longer red, yellow's okay, you can go long or short on yellow, ETF. This has to be green first, and then yellow or green here is fine too for a long trade. You don't want to go short. All right, but so the next thing you can do, if this goes green and we're stuck inside a channel here, you can wait for the channel to get broken. Remember, this is a scalp trade, so you don't have to wait for a pyramid, okay? So you can wait for that channel to get broken in addition to having a green light on the indicators below, okay? You can do that too. So you always need to be trading into your comfort level. That's the key. Do I want to go long here? No, because this is red, and even though this is green, we're not done with this little pullback yet. I need to have the momentum change, and then we'll see what we want to do with that, okay? Now, the other thing that throws people off is sometimes they get stopped out, it bottoms, and then it takes off, and they get in a little bit later, and they go, ah, crap, why did I get out at all? Well, that can happen, but then the problem is then they start not getting out, and then this happens, and then they lose everything. You always have to get out. Sometimes it's the right place, sometimes it's not. but it is something that will keep the disaster from happening when it comes. Because there'll always be a couple of those that get away from you, and you don't want to stay with the trade. Okay. All right. So now we got a pyramid down. All right. So now, even though we have a green PTF here, all right, I wouldn't take a trend trade down yet. This changes I may. Okay. But let's see what happens with this. Okay. And you know what? If you feel uncomfortable about taking a trade, you just wait. Nobody's forcing you to pull the trigger. I may pull the trigger a couple times because we only got a few minutes left in this session. So the idea is I'm trying to teach you how to do these things. But if you have all day in your trading, you want to be very patient in how you do this, okay? And don't revenge trade, okay? Don't get so mad that you took a hit that you're, wanting to get even at the market, that it creates an emotion where you're not trading in accordance to your rules. So on the 5-minute chart here, we may have a pretty good bottom in here, but it's also possible, we had a retracement up to the basically a fib retracement area. You could make one more low too. But the PTF is saying probably another high first. So, the scalp trade would be to the long side. Now we have a new low here, okay? So if we get a situation, I'm not going to go long even on a scalp trade. This is my rule against the pyramid. So that's a bearish pyramid. I need prices to get at least above there before I'd even take a trade here to the long side. And then of course this has to be green, this has to be green, this has to be green. Yellow or green is okay. Starting to see bullish divergence in the lower time frame, so we may be getting ready for a move up. But this is the thought process of that you have to have when you trade, and you have to let go of this and not worry about it, because you're going to have trades that end up as losses sometimes. It's just the way trading works. And also too, during an open trade, I'd say 80% of the time when I take a trade, it goes against me a little bit, even the profitable ones. So don't worry about an open position fluctuating. You have your stop set because that's what made sense at the time you took the trade. And basically, you want to stay with that stop. What happens in between is kind of noise until you get to your target. And then there's money management techniques where you could scale out, lower your risk at certain times as the market unfolds, but that's going to be different every time. You have to see how the market unfolds. Okay, so we got a little bit of green, and then it went back to red, so we're still coming down. Okay, now if this turns red over here, then there's no more long trades. Okay, nothing we can do about that. And we just got to shift hats and wait for another pattern to form that's cleaner. Okay, based on the direction you want to go, and that's day trading. All right. So I wanted to share that with you because how you trade this is really no different necessarily than how you would do it on a position trade. What's different is the fact that you're sitting in front of the screen and the results come back quicker and faster. And so you have to be, from a psychological standpoint, okay with that kind of fast feedback. All right, any questions? Any questions? And of course, the nice thing when you're practicing with your simulator, you just go in All right, at the end of the day, you hit edit account, you hit reset, and voila, it's like it never happened, right? And then you start again the next day. And the idea is you want to do that and keep good records so you see after 50 trades, do you have an edge? Doesn't mean you're going to win every trade, but do you have an edge? And that's the key. All right, so this is a great example. You know, we got out up here, so it's a great example of thank goodness we got out, right? Even though this thing could turn around, all right, you don't want to be biting your nails and getting more stress as the trade moves against you. The other thing too, I also put these numbers big up here so I can see them really good. And you could do that through the property windows. All right, so that's kind of what I wanted to show you. I just kind of wanted to give you a brief intro into how to use the simulator on Ninja. And you can use this simulator for position trading or actually day trading. It just depends on the time frame you choose for the charts. Any questions? Anybody out there day trading already? By the way, whatever you do, never day trade options, okay? The market makers take into account the bid and the ask or the volatility of the day into their bid and ask. So it's pretty hard to scalp and beat a market maker in options. Overnight's fine. Even one night overnight's fine because they really can only gauge volatility based on the current day's movement. You may win once in a while, but you're not going to win. You're not going to have an edge. Put it that way. But do not day trade options. Position trade options, fine. Day trade options. All right. Anything else? Cool. All right. Well, I will see you back here next week. We'll post this video on our YouTube secret area that you have access to. All right. And thank you so much. All right. All right. Mark's saying you can't get Ninja on your new laptop. How come? New laptop. You ought to be able to get it on there. Make sure you do all the Windows updates, right? Well, Mark, that sounds like something you need to talk to Ninja about. I would give them a call, okay? You know, if you give them a call, they can even remote onto your computer, I think, if you need to. Check, and you rebooted your computer, I assume, right? If anybody else is having that trouble, let me know. That's the first I've heard. So what about your security software? Why don't you turn your security software, that's your virus software, off? Also, are you using a VPN? Sometimes VPNs block that stuff. Make sure you're not using a VPN. And what I would do is check that first, okay? Yeah, but the problem is with the VPN, for example, when I use a VPN, I cannot log into my bank account because the bank account requires something that the BNP is blocking. Maybe it's a cookie or something, I don't know. But make sure you're not using a VPN. If you're using security software, cut it off. There may be a VPN that you don't know about built into that. So that's a personal problem you're having on your computer. So you're going to have to figure that out. impossible for me to, those are the only things I can think of. If anybody else can think of anything else to help them, please type that in, okay? There's something blocking something, Mark, unfortunately, on your computer. You're just gonna have to figure it out. And Google it. A lot of times I'll have a problem, and when I Google it, I'll find the answer. What security software are you using? Check and make sure your email address is correct. Sometimes, if you mistype your email address in, you don't really realize it, but you never get the emails. So verify, log into your account or whatever, and make sure your email is okay. Sometimes it's something as simple as that. All right, so I still wouldn't go long here because I still have pyramids heading down. So even though a scalp trade could be setting up, I wouldn't be going short here either, not against this. But I'd wait until this peters out and we have some bullishness come back in, and then may try it again. Because the lower this comes down, the better the scalp trade is going to be because it's more profit potential. So maybe I can get back in lower than I got out. Well, what I would do is it in your spam folder? Did you check your spam folder? Sometimes emails that contain links, even though you've been getting the email before, ends up in the spam folder. A lot of little things like that. So check that. Check your spam folder. Then there's some email accounts like Gmail. I heard one time that somebody they never saw any emails from somebody they were expecting an email from, and apparently for some reason Gmail was just deleting the emails before it even got to the email provider, which is kind of really bad. They should give at least the person on the other end the chance to add those to a saved list or something. Maybe try another email, Mark. You might want to try that. Yeah, you can go to Yahoo and get a free email or something there. You can try that. All right, guys, that's it for this week. All right. So now market's coming back now. So we got above the pyramid. That's a good sign. Let's see if this turns green. And if I was going to be with you longer, that may be a long trade for a scalp. We could show you. Okay. You can watch that at home. So are you using Gmail? What's your email account? Aha. So it's a Google account. All right. I would get a hold of Google and ask them. Tell them you're not getting certain emails and see what they say. Yeah, try to figure it out. It's got to be some. It's got to either be the Google account or I don't think it's Ninja. I think it's going to be something on your computer Googling. It's either the Google account or some type of doesn't have the fact that your computer's new is what causes me concern. It's because maybe what's happening there, Mark, is that there's some security software or setting on your new computer that's causing the problem. I just don't know. Well, email is email. Yep. All right. Well, sounds like you're on it. So just keep at it and stay with it. And you're just going to have to figure it out because it's got to be somewhere around one of those areas. Try Googling the problem. See if anybody else is having a problem. Won't hurt to call Ninja. You can certainly call them. Won't hurt. Okay. Yeah, if you can't load Ninja, you're not going to be able to load the software. That's for sure. So you definitely got to get on that. Because we can't load the software until you have Ninja up and running. Now, let me ask you a question. On your old computer, can you log in and see if the email is on your old computer? Okay, then it's something either with Google or Ninja. My speculation is I'm not sure. And you're getting your other emails, right? Call Ninja, see what they say. Does anybody else have any problems with that at all? Have you had the new software installed yet? Have you had our software installed? So definitely check on that. Well, where's the code going? Is it being emailed or is it sent to your phone? Sometimes they text you, you know. So it may be a text message on your phone. Okay, so now you need the code to input into Ninja. So it's the code you're not getting. Maybe they sent it to your phone, not to your email. Maybe you're looking at the wrong place. Maybe it's a text message. Not sure. Check it to see if it's in your text, just to be sure, even though they said email. Then have them resend it again. If you don't see it there again, see what happens. Yeah, you could always download the version. You know, they have a new update on the older version, so it works fine. I'm using that right now, I think. Yeah, I don't like that login thing that Ninja does either. I think it was much simpler the way it was before. Not exactly sure why they changed that, but so the new one is 8.1. That requires your login, but they also have the updated 8.0 you could use. So even though it's an older version, it's not really. Okay. So that's what I'm using, the 8.0. So you could do that too. So if they're sending you a code, you need to find the code. That's the problem. And maybe calling Ninja would be the best thing. All right. Well, keep us advised of what's going on. Okay. You can let our support team know. But certainly, installing the 8.0 is nothing wrong with that either. But I'd give Ninja a call first, because they may be able to text it to you instead of emailing it to you. As long as you get the code some way, you're good, right? All right, everybody. All right, thank you for attending. And we'll be back here next Wednesday, okay? And we'll take it up from there. Okay, so only email. All right, yeah, call Mark. Tell him you're not getting it. If you have another email, if you get them on the phone, maybe have them change your email for you to whatever the other one is. Try a different one, maybe. Yeah, I know, but maybe they can change it for you. I know it's a registered email account, but maybe they can do a back into the office change for you. Because people change emails, so they've got to be able to change it. Well, why don't you send them an email explaining that you're not getting their emails and see what they say, and copy support@traderscoach.com on that so we can follow along with you, okay? Try to get it resolved. Help you try to get it resolved somehow. What do you mean sign into Google? I thought you were doing that already. That's how you get your emails, right? You can get it in Outlook, but you can also sign in directly to Google. So do that. So I don't know how your email is all set up, so you know that better than I do. So give that a try. All right, I'm gonna have to run, but keep us in the loop, okay? It'll get resolved, don't worry. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.